to the Movie Club Emporium, and thanks for joining us again. This week, I promise to be less. Um, I don't know. We'll see how this goes along. This week, we are talking about the new film, The Death of Robin Hood. This is a new film from Michael Sarnowski, the guy, writer director who made Pig, which is a movie that I did truly, truly love. If you've not seen Pig, it's essentially Nicolas Cage in the anti John Wick Revenge for My Dead Pet film. That's actually very beautiful and um, very thought provoking, and very ethereal and what it's touching on. And this is new film uh is Old Man Logan. Uh, kinda. This stars Hugh Jackman playing the titular Prince of Thieves. Um, as somebody who uh watched a lot of the Kevin Costner one from the '90s because of course my mother loved that movie. Um, it was like, can we just all agree that, and I feel like if nothing else, like Robin Hood, King Arthur, like I don't think we need. I won't say we don't need any more films because clearly you can reinvent characters. Comic books have been doing it for decades. Um, and this movie definitely tries to do that with Robin Hood. Um, the thing about it is though that we're doing a very realistic, uh, dark, uh, down to earth deconstruction of the man and the myth that is Robin Hood. And so Hugh Jackman plays this very um, angry, very nihilistic, very dangerous version of Robin Hood. Um, and I will say, for the first hour of this movie, man, I was hook, line, and sinker. It's when you get to seeing him, even in his advanced age, kind of in action doing things. The fight scenes and like the deaths and stuff are um, highly visceral. And the opening alone is crazy. For where you immediately just it immediately draws you into this, like, what is go? Oh my god. Um, unfortunately, uh, we do not carry that steam. Um, so yeah, we have Old Man Robin Hood, and he is asked for one last adventure with Little John, played by Bill Skarsgård, who at first glance, when I first saw him in the trailer, I was like, "Ooh, Michael Shannon," because he definitely does not give off Bill Skarsgård in this. Um, but he's playing a version of Little John who is going by a different name, who of a farmer who he like killed that farmer and then took his family as his own. Again, a very dark, nihilistic look at like the mythos of Robin Hood. Um, in that fight, Robin Hood is gravely injured. He wakes up at this, like, they wouldn't necessarily call it a monastery, but it kind of is. It's run by Jodie Comer, who is great in this movie when she's given something to do. You kind of want her to have more in it. But she's helping nurse him. There's a several little young girls there that are being raised in this convent, for lack of a better word. Um, there's a gentleman on the grounds who has leprosy, who kind of is the unofficial like groundskeeper, protector of these women. Um, and slowly we start seeing Robin Hood kind of, begin what looks to be a redemption arc. Maybe he learns to protect people instead of just murdering them outright. Um, there's even a beautiful moment with the leper where we're getting some slight spoilers. The leper ends up kind of where leprosy ends up. Uh, you come to find out is a man who survived an encounter with Robin Hood. Um, and forgives him for his past atrocities. But then there are certain things that happen in the end that I won't spoil. Uh, that lead to the ultimate, the death of Robin Hood. And again, the first like hour or so of this movie, I was in it, man. I was like, holy crap, man, this is something. Like we're in it. Um, and unfortunately, the second half it was like a slow burn. Um, until by the end, which is so very anticlimactic. It almost for a slow burn, the fire went out. And it's a very anticlimactic ending. Um, where it's just funny because in a movie like Pig, which again is like the anti John Wick movie, the lack of everything, the lack of the action, the lack of the everything that would make a John Wick movie a John Wick movie. This is just the storied version of it, but also very like melancholy and like heady talks about things and all kind what could have been and who you are as opposed to who you want to be and things like that. Um, Again, this is a movie about Robin Hood, who's kind of a monster at the beginning of this movie, so much so that you're sitting there going, man, it's gonna take a lot. It's gonna take a lot to like get this redemption arc off the ground. And then by the end, when he does succumb to the title of the movie, you're kind of just left going, well, I don't really feel like he earned, like he didn't earn that. You don't really. I mean, you see a little bit of an about face, but not to me, not enough to show that he is fully changed. Um, and again, probably because of the details of the ending that I don't want to spoil. Um, but yeah, it just kind of left you going, oh, oh, well. And honestly, the biggest thing is it's Hugh Jackman as an old man who's gruff and nasty, and he's bitter and he hates the world, and he is forced to protect these young girls. And only in this one he doesn't have like bone or metal claws coming out of his hands, because it kind of is like whether on purpose or not, casting Hugh Jackman, who was great in the movie, but casting him in this role so close to the old man Logan character is just I can't help but be like, what did you do it because of that? And again, Jodie Comer is great in this movie. Um, but I feel like she's just not given enough to do in this movie. She should definitely be a bigger part. The role she plays ends up being huge in the end, but like you're not given that any of that on screen. Um, it's a mixture of fireworks and storms going on outside. Um, and honestly, again just made me think of like looking at the cinematography is gorgeous, the everything, but just kind of thinking about movies that kind of do something kind of like this in this era. Um, this movie committed the crime, which I don't fault it, but it happens, and it's one thing that once it happens, you can't not think about it. And I started thinking about other movies. I'm trying to watch this movie. I'm thinking, here's the part where like you know, the Wolverine clone would come in, or they start talking about the movie Shane, or honestly, something like The Northman or The Green Knight kind of cover this kind of like deconstruction of folklore and folk tales kind of better. Um, and again, something like Pig, because it's it's just this was again, it's the first hour of the movie. I think everybody will totally be into. The second hour definitely just kind of screeches to the halt and just kind of like slowly limps along until you get a very not just anticlimactic, but almost a undeserved lackluster of an ending. Um, so I don't think I would recommend it, except for maybe that first hour. But it is something that is interesting that in 2026 somebody was like, let's deconstruct Robin Hood. Like something like Watchmen did in the comics, or The Dark Knight Returns, or I'll tell you this: what this movie could have used is a little bit of Roger Miller music. A little bit of whistling or singing about hoodoo lolly, golly what a day. Maybe would have kept my interest a little more. But it's not all bad. It just kind of falls apart toward the end. Um, and so if nothing else, it just kind of makes me wishing for more. So that'll do it for this review of The Death of Robin Hood. If you've seen it, what did you think? Put it down in the comments. We'll talk about it. Uh, what did you think about Logan? Uh, there's a comic book movie I think we can all kind of agree on. Thank you guys for sticking around, and hopefully you made it this far. Make sure you like and subscribe. We are only 28 subscribers away from hitting our 2026 goal of 100 subscribers. If we hit that target before the clock strikes midnight at the end of 2026, we're going to do a special live stream for you guys. So definitely want to do that. So help us out by sharing with your friends, liking, commenting, boost those numbers. Next week, uh, of course, Evil Dead Burn is coming out next week. We're not going to be talking about it next week, though, as if you don't know. Nick and I, on our monthly live streams for our month of July, we are covering the Evil Dead franchise, which includes the brand new Evil Dead Burn. So I'll be talking about that at the end of the month. Next week, we will break down the final installment in the now concluded Jackass saga. So, you're going to want to bring a barf bag and some tissues, because we are saying goodbye uh, with Jackass Best and Last. So, join me next week where we try to make our friends vomit. My wife secretly judges me for watching this content at the current age that I am at. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.